mentioned ska music. I think like ska music is a really good example of music that played with the idea that teenagers were just screwing around and had like no purpose and were having fun and screwing up, and we were just going to make
and having
music about
a great time.
Yeah. Do that again.
Am I really going to do that?
Let's try it, yeah.
Okay. Coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Welcome to Play Record. Whether you're here for the music, the memories, or the emotional damage caused by one awesome mixtape. I'm Tyler.
I'm Jess.
And today I want to start by asking you a question. So, if someone wanted to understand what it felt like to be 16 in your generation, what song would you give them to listen to?
Okay. Yeah, I would think about this in terms of like a time capsule.
Yeah. Okay.
Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Okay. It's classic.
One, because it like mentions teens. But the sound, the video, the voice, this everything about that song, I think sums up that time for me.
So we'd have to give them a DVD or some sort of device that they can watch the video too.
Or just be like, go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube, watch the video. Yeah.
What about you?
I would go with 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins for similar reasons. I think the music video for that song also, just like these kids driving around in the car doing absolutely nothing.
Yes.
It sounds very like being 16 to me, and like the listlessness of it.
Yeah.
And then the song itself just kind of has this kind of like melancholic, lilting sound to it, and the whole question of like, where are we even going? Felt very much like the teenage experience for me.
Yeah, that song to this day, when I hear it, it takes me back. For some reason, when I think about it, I think like I would want to be driving, hearing that, like with friends or something.
Yes, being in a car with friends.
Maybe because he's in a van. Is it because he's in a van?
I think they're in like a long sedan.
Oh, are they? I don't know why I picture him in like a van.
Because they're doing donuts and
Oh yeah.
tip a van over.
But maybe because he's driving, and that's.
I think he's in the back seat in the video.
Okay, stop. Just like...
Sorry. He's driving.
He's driving
a van.
Yeah.
He's driving a van. Well, we're gonna get to that topic, and we're gonna really explore how the music of our generation shaped our understanding of what it meant to be a teenager today. Before we do that, though, let's talk about what's on the turntable.
What is on the turntable?
So, on the turntable today is Nighthawks at the Diner by Tom Waits, who is probably my counterpart to your Tori Amos. This is Tom Waits' faux live album that was produced in studio, but made to sound like it was at a jazz club because they were trying to get this like Tom Waits banter back and forth with the audience, but they couldn't get a good live recording, so they created it in a studio. But it's got so many great songs in it: Eggs and Sausage, Emotional Weather Report, and I think maybe my favorite song of that album is his version of this song called Big Joe and the Phantom 309.
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful song.
It really is. It's so nice. But yeah, let's kind of unpack this idea of how we learned about the teenage experience through music.
Yeah, I think there are two parts. So like one thing I think about is listening to love songs or breakup songs, like Fiona Apple, for example, where I would hear it and like feel so strongly about what I was hearing or the lyrics, or I felt like they resonated with me, even though I would have known nothing about that, as a teen. And then there's this other like anti-establishment theme that was a big part of our generation, and that's like rebelling against society or parents, and a lot of like the mundane.
I definitely feel like the anti-establishment tracks or the songs that just embrace the whole slacker mentality stand out very strongly to me.
Yes, yeah. Like ska music, for example, was
yes.
Like that was a big part of that. Like Calling in Sick, and the whole song is just about calling in sick. And there's like halfway through the song, he's like, there's like a track of him calling his boss, like, yeah, I'm calling in sick, like.
Yeah. And everybody who's listening to this song is like, yes, like
Yeah.
that's the way to live.
Right. Yeah.
Don't go to work. But like, what are you not going to work for? Like, we really didn't have an answer to that question as
No.
kids. Like, it was like, so you could stay in bed, like, so you could probably like
Well, I had
smoke
a job when
weed.
I was in high school.
Oh, you
Very
did.
much.
Did you
Yeah.
call in sick a lot?
Not a lot, but I did.
Did you? Was
Yeah.
it what was it just like this feeling of, oh yeah, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you're gonna make the
I
most of
say
life?
that no. I actually was like pretty reliable, I
Oh,
would say.
good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. They were lucky to have me.
I had jobs in high school, but they were not the kind where I needed to call in sick. I was an umpire.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
yeah.
Well, okay, hold on. But this leads me to another thought that, like, so I was hearing songs like "Calling in Sick" and thinking like, yeah, calling sick, but I wasn't doing it.
You
I
weren't
was
that kind of
like,
kid.
no, I have to go to work because it's my job.
Yeah.
But that idea of like something resonating with you,
Mhm.
even though you're not living it, and I think that's a big part of the teenage experience, and not just the teenage experience, I guess, but the 90s, the types of songs that we were listening to that were either like really melancholic, or they were about like being really sad or depressed. And we were listening to these songs and like relating so strongly to them,
Mhm.
but on the surface
Yeah,
only
not really being in that
because
state. Yeah.
yeah. So like is that just like a teen thing that you're just kind of like learning and becoming like a fully formed human?
I think there's a bit of a rebel without a cause.
So were we slackers? Because there is a lot of, and even still, like to this day, I think you hear a lot of talk about like, or either the stereotype of a teenager being a slacker. I
Mhm.
think that's like alive and well even today, which I think is untrue in so many ways, but there's
Yeah.
this like stigma about it, which is just kind of annoying and outdated at this point, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, there was music being made, or the music that we were listening to, that had to do with kind of being a slacker.
Sure.
Is there irony in that? Did we embrace it because the alternative, like being earnest and sincere, would have felt too uncomfortable?
I think so. I think for me, the slacker mentality that got thrown around a lot for like Gen X kids is something that I and people that I know knew embraced, because earnestness and the other, like the way that you were kind of being directed, just felt so just bland. Like
Uh-huh.
it was just, it was not interesting.
Yeah.
And like we still kind of live in a version of this. You go to high school and then the expectations you're going to go to college, and like we were still part of that generation of you go to college, you get a job, and you work your way up. And
Hmm.
so there was this slow, take things one step at a time. This path is like pretty concrete, and that just wasn't interesting. And I think that's kind of where I feel like the slacker mentality kicked in. Like I listened to a song like "Story of My Life" by Social Distortion, and he talks about going downtown to look for a job, but he looks at himself and he's like, I'm not the kind of person that they're gonna hire. Like, I don't want to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
nothing there looks interesting to me. And I think that is probably what I resonated with most. Is like I just didn't want that.
Do you think that we were responding to that like clean 80s pop sound? Like, and we know that
Musically, yeah.
there was like punk and like real like the
It's coming. It's coming. Okay. Oh, there it is.
yeah. Okay, thanks. Do you think that was a response? Do you think that like we were responding to, or no, sorry, like
We're gonna get there.
obviously obviously in the 80s there was punk music and
Yeah.
like people making songs about like real life and like real issues.
Yes.
But the mainstream was this very clean sounding
Guys in sport coats.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I wonder, were musicians in the 90s kind of rebelling against that?
I think so. I mean, having not been a musician, I would I would just say yes, because it felt like listening to that music, I was like, this is way better than what that looks like to me.
Yeah.
You know, the like really bad like Don Johnson blazer shirt guy, yacht rock types, you know, which I mean
Like
wasn't
Miami
super cool.
Vice
Yeah, like that
vibe.
wasn't super cool to kids. I mean, they you know, you had
Well, there are
what?
probably people out there. I just thought of the wedding singer, John Gulia. John Gulia, is that his name?
Yes.
The guy that Drew Barrymore is going to marry, and
Hmm.
he's like, he dresses like Don Johnson in Miami Vice.
Maybe there were
So
teenagers
there were
who really bought
probably, I think
into
he,
that.
this was like
Yeah.
people in their early 20s, maybe.
Yes. Yes, but like yeah, I guess to your question, there it seems logical that that would have been the reaction, and it because that's what the reaction felt like to me when I would look back at some music videos from the 1980s. I'm like, boy, this is super corny.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I kind of felt like the slacker mentality became this. It kind of became a joke that got more and more. Um, Maybe ironic as the years went on. Like you
Hmm.
mentioned ska music. I think like ska music is a really good example of music that played with the idea that teenagers were just screwing around and had like no purpose and were having fun and screwing up, and we were just going to make
And having
music
a
about
great
yeah,
time.
I mean, like, yeah, just like stumbling their way towards the edge of the cliff and, ignorant about the outcome. And
Hmm.
and that kind of approach to music felt like it was all over the place,
Hmm.
especially in ska music and some pop punk music in the 90s. The idea that being a teenager was a time to just kind of, like Kurt Vonnegut would say, fart around. I think Gwen Stefani is a really good example of that. She has, I don't know what the song was, but it's the one where she's like, something I have like 20 vision, something, something. I'm not that good at long division.
Yeah, this was a newer song that she released maybe like 5 years ago now. So this is like Gwen Stefani, like
As a
now,
solo
yeah.
artist post, no
Oh
doubt.
yeah,
Yeah.
like way post, no
But
doubt.
she's like still singing songs about how she's dumb.
Yes, yeah. Like we
And
were driving one day and that song was on, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, it's like she's still stuck in the
she's still
90s with
stuck in the
this
90s
like
being a
that." Yeah,
slacker.
I think also it's interesting to think about how music shaped our style then too, like as
Hmm.
a teen, because like when you're a teenager, it's kind of the first time that you're experimenting with your own like personal style and really like dialing in what you're comfortable wearing, like how self expression, all of that. And like, I think music is what shaped that.
Hmm.
Like watching videos, music videos, um, and just like whatever like artist that we would have been following, like I would say I was getting my style cues there.
Do you
Like where
remember
I
some
don't
of
even
those
know where else.
earliest points where you were like, oh man, like I want a piece of that?
Well, yeah, like I cut my hair short my freshman year of high school and would like spike it and dye it and bleach it and like wearing like creepers and vintage shopping, like all of that was like quintessential 90s, like that style. I
Hmm.
do actually remember one time, I've told you this before, I went I already had short hair, but I wanted my hair to look like Dolores O'Riordan in The Cranberries.
Mm.
I was in 10th grade. And so I went to the salon without a picture, but my hairdresser was like probably 22.
She
So
should have
she
known. Or,
should have
yeah.
been very familiar. But I was telling her, like, this is what I want. And so I kept telling her, like, no, no, I think it should be shorter. It should be shorter. Anyway, I walked out of there with like my hair being like an inch
Oh,
across.
just like a Brillo
And
pad.
luckily, it was like right at the beginning of summertime, so I didn't have to go to school. And then I went to Mexico with my mom and my siblings, and it was for my sister's like senior trip. And so she was like off with a friend, and my brother was off doing his own thing. So I was just hanging out with my mom the whole time. But there are pictures from this trip where in every picture I'm like this. And
Hair.
luckily, by the time we got back, it had grown just enough that I could kind of like put this down with like a little clip in it.
Gel the hell out of it.
Yeah.
and
Anyway,
use it.
so like
Yeah.
that was like when music influenced my style and it went wrong.
Yeah, I did the same. Well, I wanted to bleach my head, or I wanted to dye the top of my hair blonde. I think it was probably somewhat influenced by Zach Morris and Saved by the Bell. But my mom wouldn't let me do that. But she did let me kind of bleach what amounted to my bangs.
Yeah, that was actually really popular.
Well,
I do remember when guys would like shave their heads, but just have the bangs and they would just bleach that part.
Yeah, I never was able to do that. But I remember doing this, and then the first reaction I got from somebody at school, and this was middle school, and back to like Gen X kids are mean. Somebody's like, did a cat pee on your head? That was my first reaction to that. And I was like, oh man,
Did you shove them into a locker?
Yeah. I think about style during that period. One of the things that I started to do, probably more because of hip hop music, was like buy and wear sports jerseys. Like that was something I saw a lot of in music videos. And so I was like really into like getting cool baseball jerseys, football jerseys, basketball jerseys.
Yeah.
So I asked my mom this basic question too, like what did the music of your generation like tell you or inform in you about what it meant to be a teenager? And she's from a small town in Arizona. I think they had maybe one high school in the town. And she kind of painted this picture of
in like the 60s.
In the 60s. And she also had an older brother. So when she was younger, she probably was looking at, this is coming down the line for me too. And he was definitely in that 50s doo-wop kind of that romanticized, idealized teenage world that music created back then. But then she said that this was also around the same time that, and like her older siblings were in this situation, like people were going off to the Vietnam War. And so there was more of an influence in protest music. And I kind of got the impression from her storytelling that there were these older kind of like simple songs that dealt with this idealized, romanticized version of being a teenager. And then these songs that were starting to become more popular that were dealing with issues that were confronting teenagers, like going to war. And living in this small town, like it was kind of like they were both kind of colliding around the same time. And I think back on some of those songs because I remember some of them, and like particularly the songs that had to do with teen death, like lots of songs about like teenagers getting in car accidents. Your lover is with you and they die, or you're going to go meet them but they don't show up, and what happened? Oh, they died in a car accident. Like the song "Last Kiss," which I'll talk about in a little while, is one of these like teenage death songs, and it's one of the first songs that I remember where somebody's saying like, I was doing this with this person who I love and they died, and they died in my arms. And
which is so interesting. And then the tempo of the song is not somber at all.
It's like the tempo, like the song "Last Kiss." I love that song because I love I love the melody, and it like the way that it's sung is just it was so nice and pleasing. And then you start paying attention to the narrative of it, and it like captures your imagination. And for me as a kid, I'm like, I don't think I've listened to too many songs where somebody's like directly telling me a story about how this person they loved has died right in front of them.
Yeah, I guess I became familiar with that song because of the Eddie Vedder cover.
Yeah.
That was obviously like years and years later. But I was still a young person. I mean, I guess I'm still a young person, but I was an even younger person. And I felt like that song sounded more somber for sure versus like the original is like you could kind of like dance to that song. Like what was the fascination with
I wonder about that
kind of that scenario?
Yeah.
I guess like, oh, sorry, this just occurred to me. Like, I wonder, I don't know, but like kids getting cars, like that might have been like a 1950s thing where
we're driving around in cars.
Maybe they're probably driving their like family car, but maybe was that the first time when teens were allowed to drive. Maybe that sounds silly. I don't know.
wonder, like, I would like to know, because I asked my mom this question and she kind of said, oh yeah, people listen to those songs and they cried in their
Oh,
bedrooms
really?
and like
Oh,
they were
oh.
captured by the storytelling of the songs in a very
Hold on,
literal
I just
way.
had a thought. Oh my gosh. I just had an epiphany. Okay. During that time, the songs, though they were love songs, they were pretty superficial. And I don't mean that in like
Pejorative
a
way.
pejorative
Yeah,
way at
I know
all,
what you mean.
but they were very much like, I'm picking up my baby and we're going to the dance, or
Yeah.
that kind of thing,
Mhm.
you know? We didn't or kids then, teenagers didn't have like heavy breakup songs,
Mhm.
or like say Fiona Apple, who's like in some of her songs, she's like speaking directly to an ex partner and she's like angry and like yelling. Like these teenagers then didn't have music like that.
Mhm.
So perhaps that idea of like martyrizing like an ex or not an ex, but like a girlfriend or boyfriend was like this outlet to kind of explore something emotionally heavy
Yeah.
without it having to be about just like two people drifting apart.
Yeah, or
Like,
without
was that like brilliant?
I think it
Do I need
was.
to write an essay about this?
Yes, I think you're right. I think that, well, maybe as you were having your epiphany, I was having a minor epiphany too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's hear it.
Because when I hear those songs, I hear a breakup song. But in this case, it's not a breakup because you and your partner went separate ways. It's a breakup because one of you guys is not alive anymore.
Mhm.
But it still captures the same sentiment of a breakup song, which
Yeah.
is that she left me, he left me, now I'm alone, and now I'm gonna break down and it doesn't happen in the song. Like you don't hear the breakdown. You know that the breakdown's about to come.
But like the listener gets to fill in those blanks on
They
their
can
own.
keep the
Hence the like
story going.
crying in your
Yeah,
bedroom
yeah.
listening to this.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do think that it took a while for teenage romance songs to evolve to a point where you could say, this is what you did to me, this is how it made me feel, and I'm gonna really get into that for you now. Like
Yeah.
that wasn't around back then, so you were just presented with the awful scenario that you would carry on within your own head.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's fascinating to me. Like if you grew up with those songs, like what were they informing in you about love and relationships and breakups and so forth? Because yeah, I'm definitely interested in how that defined your understanding of teen relationships.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, should we talk about our picks for the mix?
I think it's time.
So my first pick is Teenage Riot by Sonic Youth. This song is before my time as a teenager, but like teens, I wonder if teens are still finding Sonic Youth and feeling seen today. I hope so.
Yeah, I think so.
But this song is about it's like a call to action. It's a rallying cry to people, not just teens, but basically people saying teenagers are the next wave. They are the ones who are going to shape society over time. And it's about finding this like perfect man to be president, which is kind of funny. And then it kind of ends with saying like these teenagers, like they're out there and they are like working towards this.
Who was the person that he had in mind?
Oh yeah, so this is so funny. So I read that he when he wrote it, supposedly he had the lead singer of Dinosaur Jr. in mind. That's like the ideal president.
Yeah,
I know, it's hilarious. Yeah. But I think the sound of that song just it like harkens back to our generation. And yeah, to this day it's just a great listen.
Teenage riot to get me out of bed right now.
My second song is Teenage Talk by St. Vincent. And this is a fairly newer song, 2015, I think. She wrote the song about her teenage experience. So it just is like one night. She grew up in Dallas, Texas, and it describes going out with her friends one night. They're like taking the friend's mom's car and like rolling it down the driveway to sneak out. And the whole the lyrics are so nostalgic and remind me of like my own high school days.
Mm-hmm.
So I think had I been a teenager when I heard it, I would have felt like, oh my gosh, she's singing this about us.
That's just teenage talk. I don't think the past is better.
My third pick is Popular by Not a Surf, and this is a hilarious song. He's kind of talking through it, giving instructions to a teen, high schooler, about just like how to be popular and kind of just how to be. And some of the advice is really good. Like he says at one point that there should be like a 1 month limit on going steady with someone. And as an adult now and a parent, I'm like, yeah, that is excellent advice for a teenager.
Right.
But then he says other things like, make sure you wash your hair at least once every other week or every 2 weeks. It's like, hold on, that's not good advice. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like just when you thought you could trust them.
Yeah, right. And then he says things like, my mom says I'm handsome or cute or good looking or something.
Yes.
Anyway, it's a great song, and that just like the song reminds me of high school. But listening to it now as an adult has kind of a different or I experience it differently now, but it still kind of takes me back to those days, and
Right.
and it's just funny to hear like what somebody would have been telling me.
My mom says I'm a catch. I'm popular.
My next pick is Hand in Glove by the Smiths. Also another song before my time as a teen, but I listened to a lot of Smiths in high school, and I love the lyrics in this song. He's talking about being out with a person and feeling like an outcast. And it's like he feels like they are both outcasts, but then he also seems like he feels like an outcast to this person. And he's like kind of hyper aware of how they are appearing to other people and how like how he is connecting with the person, I guess. Like there's a line where he says that like the night, like how the night goes will depend upon how near you stand to me. And so there's like all this like inner dialogue happening while he's with this person. And I think that is like just so resonant. Is that the word? Would I say that? Like it reminds me of just being a teen and being so in your head about every single thing that you do. Like kind of like going back to the whole style thing that we were talking about before, like how we're like experimenting with things. Like I cut my hair short and I dyed it this and I bleached it and whatever. And so like on the outside, somebody might have thought, oh wow, look at her, she's so herself, or she's so comfortable looking this way or trying different things. But on the inside, I was like always thinking about other people, like how am I going to be seen? So I just think this song Hand in Glove, it just really captures the thoughts.
Something that occurs to me as you're talking about this take on Hand in Glove is that these are two people that are out, and maybe to other people they look like they're having a good time and they're connecting, but individually, at least Morrissey is saying that he's not comfortable out in the world, and he's not quite sure about like how this is gonna go with this person. But it really reinforces the importance of having a good friend when you're that age.
Oh my God,
Somebody
yes.
that knows that like even when we're together, like the reason that we're together is to support each other
Mhm.
because we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yes.
And we're just trying things on.
Oh my
And we're
gosh,
trying
yeah.
personalities on. We're trying clothes on. We're trying love on. We're trying any kind of like emotional posturing that you can think of.
Yeah.
So if you have a friend that can just, give you the confidence to just, try it and just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
It's really valuable.
Oh my gosh, it's everything. Institutionalized by suicidal tendencies. This song is 1983, which seems so ahead of its time. Also kind of similar to the Not a Surf song in that he's like talking through the song and he's describing the situation basically where his parents are worried about him and they're going to institutionalize him. And he's just kind of trying to make sense of it. And it's a really like tender song, I guess. Or I don't know if now when I hear it, I think about it differently because I'm a parent. And back then maybe I would have, or like as a teenager, I just, it was just kind of one of these songs that you're like it resonates even though it has nothing to do with your life and you have no idea what he's anything close to what he has experienced or is experiencing. But now listening to it, it just kind of makes me sad. Hearing it. He's basically describing just talking to his parents and his mom coming in and like that she's worried about him. And anyway, great song, great band, and very much something that captured this like teenage experience, a very unique teenage experience, and not one held by most, but something that I think even just like maybe the honesty and the rawness of it is what probably was speaking to me then.
Yeah, I think that is what gives that song legs. People weren't writing songs about mental health issues in the 80s as like an issue in creating awareness by identifying it. And I think what makes that song so successful is that it's a specific experience. And some people could resonate with that. Their parents think that these actions that they're taking are a sign of mental illness. And maybe they are, maybe they're not. But like it's this one person's life that he's honestly, delivering at this really heightened moment that I think causes people to easily connect with. Yeah, that's a great song.
Like, maybe you should talk about it, you'll feel a lot better. I go, no, it's okay, I'll figure it out. Just leave me alone, I'll figure it out, I'm just working on myself.
I talked about a couple of them already, so I won't go into too much more detail, but I'll start with 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins, probably the song that I think about most when I think about my teenage experience. I think that song captures the listlessness that we felt as teenagers with the questions about what should we be doing with our time. The like those larger questions about where we're going from here, like where do our bones end up, like he's asking in the song. You have this desire to explore for a lot of people, and that meant you had to go somewhere else, probably for college. And so I think that also was part of it for me, was like, where am I going to go, like when it's time to go. So 1979 always takes me back to those questions about like, what does the future hold. The second song I also talked about, but it's one that not part of my teenage experience, but I thought about it a lot, and that's Last Kiss by J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers, the one that Eddie Vedder covered, and one of those teenage death songs that captured my attention because the narrative was just such an interesting story about, in this case, a girlfriend that dies in a car accident, and you're like holding her and your blood's running down your face and she breathes her last breath. And like, to me, it was just like an awesome thought as a 13-year-old kid about like what the teenagers might hold. Dad told me that he knew of lots of kids in car accidents when he was a teenager. Yeah. So back to your point about like the driving, I think that was probably captivating for them. But yeah, for me, just this storyline was something that stuck with me.
Well, where, oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me.
The next one is Germ Free Adolescence by the X-Ray Specs. Great punk band. And this song, I think, is a precursor to, the 90s. It was written in the early 80s. And no, I'm sorry, this song was written in 78. And it's about a couple of kids who are obsessed with cleanliness, and they to the point that they talk about how good their deodorant smells and how they're going to wear rubber gloves when they touch each other and spray antiseptics into each other's mouths just to be super clean. And it's very ironic, or at least I take it that way.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, like this germ-free version of the teenage experience, which to me, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, this was nobody's experience. It was nobody's experience, but it was so fun to think about kids maybe in the back of their mind going, God, we're so dirty. I wish we could be clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, Germ Free Adolescence by the X-Ray Specs. Great track.
Clean, dirty, dance, time to die. Scrub away, scrub away, scrub away.
One of my favorite bands of all time, The Replacements. I've talked about them a few times. 16 Blue was 1984. And I've said this to you so many times, but I wish I could have been around in their heyday. Like, I wish that song would have been released when I was 16 so that I could have benefited from it at the time, because I didn't find that song until much later. But it probably captures the questions and the uncertainty of the experience better than anything else, where he just talks about it being a time where you don't understand anything. You don't understand how a girl becomes a woman, how a boy becomes a man. There's lots of waiting around.
What is the line where he says is it time, like it drags and drags?
Everything drags. Everything. Time.
Yeah, like
all your
that
experiences
is-
go
yeah.
slow, and you just are waiting, but you don't know what you're waiting for. If you're a teenager, listen to The Replacements, listen to 16 Blue, and I think it will give you a feeling that you're not alone.
Your age is the hardest hit. Everything drags and drags.
The last track I have on my mix is also kind of like that song by the Suicidal Tendencies. It's called Yellow Cat, Red Cat. It's by a band called Say Anything. It was released in 2004. And it also written by a singer who dealt with a lot of mental health issues in his career, and captures what a week is like for this kid who really has not a lot going on. He sits around, he watches things happen outside of his window. They start as mundane as a couple of cats fighting. By the end of the song, he's watching neighbors playing with guns in the road. He's got a cousin who watches MTV and doesn't do a whole lot. He's got a job where he's interacting with people who are kind of strange. And all of these touch points with the world in that song are like, none of them are comforting. They all seem very real and very honest, but they paint a picture of somebody who is not going to find a lot of answers to their questions.
No, please. These are my friends. This is who they have been for always.
We'd love to hear the songs that you feel defined your teenhood, teenagerism.
We both have advanced degrees in English. That's why we can come up with these words.
Yeah, we talk like this.
We need to move on to our musical excursions.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
I'll give it to you later. So we promised you that we would do some homework. So we said that we were going to take a couple of bands that we have not been too kind to in the past, and we were going to give them some time. For me, it was 311, and it was
Matchbox 20.
I did a bit of a deep dive into 311. Admittedly, I just listened to the album 311, the 95 album that had Down on it, and had All Mixed Up. They're one that kind of made them popular. Number one, I was surprised at how musically and lyrically upbeat the album was, to the point that it kind of felt a little bit like a Schoolhouse Rock.
Which is funny, because it's like, even though that was 95, it's like that's the opposite of what we have spent this whole episode
the whole time talking about. Yeah. I don't know that I can get into it though. So I have to comment on a few things here. There's a point in one of their songs where they say, singing in rhymin's what I'm better for. When I describe, I'm a scribe with a metaphor. I use a simile lightly because that shit's played the common way most rhymes are made, which is like this weird schoolhouse rock, like metaphors are better than similes sort of thing, which caught me off guard when I heard it, and I had to like play it again to see if that's what I heard. Because then there's another song called Brodell where he says, I'll put you in another world. I can't hear you, like having phone sex with a deaf girl, which is dumb on so many levels. I mean, it should be a mute girl. But anyhow, he says a little bit later, he says, I know that's a simile, but I couldn't resist. So like this is a different song written days later, but they're still hung up with this simile metaphor thing. It's so weird. He rhymes the word merchants with perchance, which is just a weird rhyme to make. I've never heard the word perchance in a song except for Flight of the Conchords. Yeah. So lyrically, very hard to stomach. All mixed up, cool song. Random, cool song. Loco is my favorite song on the album. And it's
I need to re-listen to that too. I haven't listened to that in like, what?
I recommend the track Loco. It's about taking shrooms.
30 years,
yeah,
literally.
Yeah. But I think the reggae funk stuff I like the best. When the hard rock guitars, it just nothing lined up there.
Mm-hmm.
Matchbox 20.
Yeah, I have far fewer words to share about that. I listened to the album. I listened to the album Yourself or Someone Like You.
Yeah, with the guy with the leather hat.
Mm-hmm. And I skipped a couple songs, and then I was like, I can't skip them. I need to just power through. But I wanted to skip through at least half. So it has that song Push on it. I wanna push you around.
Yeah.
Which is in the Barbie movie and
so
is
well placed in that movie.
Yes. And so it's like you can't listen to that song the same way.
Oh, it's ruined.
I mean, even beyond that movie, like the lyrics, that was like okay for like a very brief time.
I would love to know what Rob Thomas thinks about.
Yeah. I'll look that up. I really liked the song Back to Good, which I heard it and then I wanted to hear it again.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like the Push, it's cheesy, but like that one is fine. You can get through it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of all I have. Like Back to Good was really the only song that I was like, oh yeah, I remember the song and I like it. There are maybe like 5 songs on that album that were on the radio, so they were familiar to me. And it seems like almost every other song or any song that I hadn't previously heard, I just couldn't get into it. So let's toast. I believe you want to toast to a very special individual.
About a week and a half ago, I went to our minor league baseball.
Let's not insult the city, please.
So we live in Santa Fe. It's not known for sports, but we have a baseball team, and they're called the Santa Fe Fuego. And so I went to one of their games with my youngest daughter and some friends. And I saw something there that I have never seen in all my years of playing baseball, watching baseball. I said it was an umpiring baseball. In the first inning, batter hits a line drive up the middle, and it hits the umpire who's around second base, right in the lower body, and it sounds so loud. It hits him square. I mean, like it sounds like the sound a baseball makes when it lands in a glove and it makes that popping noise, like something similar to that, and he falls to the ground and he's not moving, and the ball ricochets and goes a long way off.
It ricochets off his leg.
Off his leg, and yeah. So the everything stops. He's down for a few minutes. He gets up with the help of like 3 players, and he hobbles to the dugout, and he does not look like he can put any weight on his leg, and we assume that we're not going to see this guy again. And then this umpire, he comes back, and the game continues, and within an inning, he gets hit by another line drive just as hard in his lower body, and he goes down once more. And everybody in the stadium was like, I cannot believe that this just happened. This
That
poor guy.
I just can't even.
So he goes down. Here's where the toast comes into play. We're sitting there waiting for him to come back up, and he's kind of moving around. And the PA announcer for the Santa Fe Fuego, raising my glass to this guy, because he starts playing REM's Everybody Hurts. And it takes about 10 seconds for the people in the stadium to realize what's happening there. And at the point that we did, it was kind of like a chef's kiss, like, this is what you're waiting for as a DJ, as an announcer, to cue up something like this. So here's to the PA announcer, the Santa Fe Fuego. Like, that was a gem. And it made a terrible situation a little bit funny.
Lighter, I suppose.
Yeah.
For the audience, anyway.
For the audience, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, thank you all for listening. We really hope you follow along. Please subscribe to our channel in the button down below. We have our mixtape for this topic in that description. You can listen to it on Spotify. And we would love to hear your comments on the songs that define your teenage experience.
Yeah. Thanks for listening or watching.
Yeah. Until next time, take care.
Bye.